Coming up on Be Kind, Let's Rewind.
Today is part 2 of our Eddie Murphy 80s tribute. He had old Eddie in the studio. There's clips of that where it's him mixing Party All the Time and Eddie singing it.
Closer to the end, he goes for training. And that's where you remember he has to do all these trials, man.
Yeah.
Well, how many people have survived this test? None! I'm gonna break your ass when I get out of here!
You got to give it to Bill Cosby for having the balls to call Eddie Murphy and tell him to chill it out.
I would like to talk to you about some of the things that you do in your show.
He's like,
the
you
phone call.
see, I'm the president of the black people, you see.
Yeah. You put the pill into her drink.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Cue music.
I said, do the people laugh when you say what you say? I said, yes. He said, do you get paid? I said, yes. He said, well, tell Bill. I said, have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up.
Welcome to Be Kind, Let's Rewind, the nostalgia podcast no one asked for, with your hosts, Chris, Leaf, and Chadwick.
They're fucking stupid. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Be Kind, Let's Rewind, the nostalgia podcast no one asked for. Today is part 2 of our Eddie Murphy 80s tribute. Guys, pretty good response on it last week, and we had a lot of fun doing it. And let's hope that we can keep the energy up. I'm glad that we all wore the same thing this week.
Not as much fun as Mr. T did, though.
And I'm going to whip at him over the head when I see him.
Until you kind of like that. So, Chadwick, you actually were on vacation recently, right, man? You had a nice little story about that?
Yeah, we just celebrated our 6th wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
And, we're in the Chattanooga area, so we didn't go very far. We went up to Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Scatlinburg.
The Smoky Mountains. Yeah. Yeah, we could call it Scatlinburg after we left.
So I'm coming day and night. I mean, it's terrific, right?
Gross.
Not Scatlinburg. Scatlinburg.
But we like to do our weekend Jeep trips anyway. We like to just drive around and see different parts of the world. So we thought we'll take the scenic route. You know, we're going to go up through the Blue Ridge Mountains, go up through Cherokee, North Carolina.
Okay, where's Moron? Okay, Moron's here, so...
And we got up to Cherokee, and we turned down that road, and we get like an 1/8 of a mile, and the fucking park rangers have it closed down for ice.
Sorry, folks, we're closed for 2 weeks to clean and repair America's favorite family fun park.
No way.
Yeah, so this...
You looked over at your wife, you're like, Ezzy.
Because you're hammered when you're driving.
I was like, that shit ain't funny, man. Yeah. So it ended up taking like 6 hours to get to Gatlinburg.
Jesus Christ. It's like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's a 2-hour trip.
Yeah.
So then the next day, though, we're not big into like walking around in the crowds and all that bullshit. So
Because you're famous.
So yeah, I don't like people coming up to me and being like, "Do buckwheat."
Daddy diver, Dan on the daddy diver,
So we found this. There's this. It's called Cades Cove. It's like another little park. You know, it's about a 10-mile loop. So you go in there. It's a one-way road, and the first thing we notice is this shitty fucking sign that someone has made. It's all over the place, and it says, "Be our idol, IDOL. Don't idle, IDLE."
I see.
It was so fucking terrible.
So, side note, I want to get a fucking bumper sticker made that just says ad wizards, that we can just stick a bumper sticker on dumb signs like that. So it'll be like, who are the ad wizards that came up with this one?
Yeah.
Just so they know what they did.
Great idea.
So
you knew what this was.
But that sign, to me, meant, hey, this is a one-way road. There's a lot of people going through here. There's pull-offs, like, everywhere. If you're going to stop... nobody's doing that. Not on this trip.
Oh, Shia LaBeouf!
Like I said, there's like pull-offs everywhere where people can stop if they want to like look
take
at
a picture or whatever.
Yeah, look at the mountains, look at the deer, the turkey, whatever. But this motherfucker in front of us would not. He's going 5 miles an hour the whole time. He's 2 cars ahead of us, and
what's good is you don't suffer from road rage, so that's good.
Hey kids, look, a deer!
I'm losing my goddamn mind, obviously. So we noticed like there's all these little like dirt roads or gravel roads that go off to the side, and after we passed like 3 or 4 of them, we're like, well, fuck, let's just go down the next one. Like, it'll
see where it goes.
It'll cut it short or whatever. So we do that, and I'll be goddamn if it don't put us back in the first mile of that loop.
That kid is back on the escalator again.
No.
And we get behind, not the same guy, but somebody else doing the same goddamn thing. And
she's like, after this, we're going to go see Bobby Darin in the car in front of you.
Bobby Darin tomorrow. Bobby Darin tomorrow night.
Chrissy was saying she was going at the hell loop. So by the time we fucking got on our 3rd loop around, it brings me the shit stuck in my head.
I think you're all fucked in the head. We're 10 hours from the fucking fun park and you want to bail out. Well, I'll tell you something. This is no longer a vacation. It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
It's a quest for fun.
Which one he got back into his room led him to.
Man, the only thing that could have saved that would be drinking.
Dude, you were trying to tell that person in front of you to get out of the street, you fucking bum.
At one point, I was trying to pass the guy in the little pull-offs area.
And he's just oblivious. Man, for this part 2, guys, I've got Canadian whiskey Crown Royal, which I forgot. It's tasty, man. It kind of gets a bad rap sometimes, but I enjoy me some Crown. So I got me a little glass of Crown and just going to fucking keep on going, man. Leaf, what do you got?
Man, I'm rocking the Moscow Mule, man. One more time. We did it last week. We're doing it again.
Hell yeah. Keep the Eddie Murphy thing going, man. Shadwick's back there digging into a green screen.
He's just got 4 cans of beer.
Yeah,
for the long haul.
Well, this is a mega show, so
yeah, dude. Shadwick's drinking them all.
Yeah,
you got the variety pack.
He does,
behind you, dude.
So again, don't forget, guys, hit us with the 5-star, like, subscribe. Don't forget the little what's the bell thing on there on YouTube?
The notification bell.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah. It tells you when I go live, and also you can do the little thanks button if you want to get Gibbs back on here. So he's sitting at home pouting at this point.
Thanks.
And don't forget, before you do your booze of the week, take the Zbiotics.
Zbiotics.com. /be kind. Get you 10% off. Help us and help you. And also another shout out to our rewinder of the month, John T.
It's a little melty, but damn is it exquisite.
Damn is it exquisite, man. So let's get back over into it, man.
Billy, you don't have to be embarrassed if your dick gets hard. But your dick is supposed to get hard, see? That's the whole object of this.
Eddie Murphy Part 2. So 1984, Ezzy leaves SNL. As this episode goes on, it's just going to be that. He leaves SNL. In 84, we got Beverly Hills Cop, man. So this one was an absolute blockbuster.
$5,000. Read my lips. $5,000 is what I need. This is bullshit here.
So he plays Axel Foley, a Detroit cop, shaking up ritzy Beverly Hills. A budget of $14 million. It grossed $316 million.
Jesus Christ. And it also has a judge in it.
You know, I noticed you've been drinking a lot of coffee lately.
Holy shit, that's $300 million profit, dude.
Back then in '84 too, man.
Holy shit!
It was just a smash success. I know this one was one of the ones I was actually allowed to watch the rated R version. Like here,
Yeah.
like oddly enough, like this, my parents were like, people get shot every day. It's fine.
Well, this has Judge Reinhold in it, right? Which is
It's like-
a Brian Ballard favorite.
They're like, Leaf, we don't want you to ever go to Detroit, so this is what it's like.
This is the Be Kind, Let's Rewind. When we finally start touring, I can guarantee you one city we won't be making a stop in.
Yeah, we're gonna be skipping.
We're banned from Detroit already.
We've got ops in Detroit.
Yeah. I haven't seen this one in a while, man. So, but again, this is I guess, would this be his first
This
quote
is his
unquote
first
leading starring role?
Yeah, where he's the main. Yeah, he is the main protagonist. This obviously is like a. It's technically like a buddy cop action comedy, directed by Martin Brest. Right. And it's just about like you said, it's like a fish out of water story, sort of. Like you have this hardened cop from Detroit, obviously played by Eddie Murphy, like in this ritzy like part, like this Beverly Hills ritzy, expensive town, and he's completely like out of his element there, like obviously. And he kind of is rough around the edges, like I said, doing his own thing, and he gets into all kinds of hijinks because I guess in Detroit they do things a little differently.
They do.
So,
they film in fucking Texas.
His black, his
references.
So his captain in Detroit is a black guy. That I have to assume that Ice Cube took influence from this guy when he did, was it 22 Jump Street?
I know what you're thinking. Angry, black captain. It ain't nothing but a stupid stereotype.
But yeah, this dude was just mad and yelling at Eddie all the time.
Yeah.
And also in the Detroit office, one of my favorites, Paul Reiser, was Eddie's friend.
Todd's looking for you. He is really pissed. You know what he said? This is your worst fuck up ever.
That's right.
wow.
I think I don't know if this is the first reference of like the police officer, like captain, like screaming and yelling, and like, because it became like sort of a meme, like going forward, like even today, like the buddy cop films, you've always got like, the hard nosed captain who's like,
don't go chasing waterfalls, guys.
Is that a TLC reference? Ain't too proud to beg. Say that.
Was that accidental, or were you trying to quote TLC on purpose?
Just a random other guy's reference.
Ice Cube, I think, did it best, though, where he's like,
well, guess what, motherfuckers? I'm black, and I work my ass off to be the captain. And sometimes I get angry. So suck a dick.
just okay, man. Thanks.
This one has a banger soundtrack too. Like, dude, you can't, man. Like, this had some really, really good music.
The song called Axel F. Is that right? The
believe so. Dun 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 dun. Play that. You gotta
play that. Yeah, I'll have the Peter Griffin in there.
Hey, so we talked about this off air, Chris. The laugh, the famous. Was that like a stage laugh?
So I saw this in two different interviews or two different articles that were supposed to be direct quotes, but so grain of salt on this. A lot of times I try to find actual interviews with these people, like where they're talking and I can see the words. Do I understand the words coming out of your mouth? So I can say for sure it's him. But they said that I guess he started seeing everybody doing impressions of him, and everybody that he was doing impressions would be like, and he was like, I didn't want my career to be that laugh. And so apparently, like, he just worked hard to do away with the laugh. And again, if it was a stage laugh, then he did away with it anyway, because it's like not really in a lot of his like later stuff. So,
well, I just noticed I've been listening to some interviews from the past 5 years, and he laughs pretty big in those interviews, and he never does that.
Right.
Laugh.
And it could, I mean, to your point, it could have been a stage thing maybe he was doing. I don't know.
I actually, in an interview, that was actually his real laugh, and he eliminated it because everybody was making fun of him.
Okay.
Like,
so that's what I read too.
He intentionally got rid of it. Yeah, he said as much
thanks,
in
Hollywood.
God
damn, people suck, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, because that shit was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that was really cool.
For sure.
Oh, it's like trademark.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta embrace the weird things about you.
Dude,
It's
your
not
quirks
always
make you who you are, right?
Dude.
Like, but I mean, also this again in 1984, Eddie's like what 23? Like so,
yeah,
23, 24. When this shit's coming out, like you're pretty vulnerable, and you're in this world that you don't know. You know, who can you trust? Who can you not trust? So of course, like as success rolls in, then you start getting people being like, well, what are you doing for this cause? Or what are you doing for your people? Or what are you doing for, where it's like, dude, I'm 20 years old trying to get my dick wet and buy some cool fucking shit. Like, what do you want from me?
That's why he was taking Brooke Shields to the award show.
I ain't jacuzzi and nobody.
And it was also right around this time, I think, where he was flying from Atlanta, and the stewardess, the flight attendant, she catches him as he's boarding, and she's like, "Sir, Richard Pryor is on the flight. I've sat you behind him." So he's never met Richard Pryor at this point. So his first, like, he gets to meet him, introduces himself, and Richard's like, I know who you are, man. And so he's like, would you mind listening to my comedy album? And I don't know what he gave him, but he said that Richard like sat in front of him, put his headphones on, and just like laughed his ass off.
Dude, how cool is that to have your idol listen to your shit like that?
Yeah, so
because I want to end this episode talking about Harlem Nights, so we will talk about that to end this fucking episode because it's kind of a nice little bow. But I mean, again, we talked about he looked up to Richard Pryor,
right? So he tells him like after he's listened to it, and he said it was so rewarding. Like he said, I could have died right then. They could have crashed a plane. I've been fine.
You're like, it's not 2025.
Yeah, no shit. But he was talking about like how big he was laughing. And then
somebody's not listening to this podcast on a plane, Chris. Dang.
And then
they knew what they did.
Yeah, I wish my son wasn't flying to Mexico next month.
You can give that shit up.
Not because of the plane, just because it's goddamn Mexico. No, but after he listened to the album, like he told Eddie, it's like, you kind of remind me of me when I was young, and then when they landed, Richard was like, "Where are you headed?" And he told him, it's like, "Oh, well, I'll take you." So he got fucking right in the car with his idol. I mean, it'd be
That's
like
wild.
It'd be like me like hitching a ride with Arnold or Todd McFarlane or Chris, you with like Shawn Michaels, Leaf, RuPaul.
Yeah, that was a massive
Sachet,
dude.
Shantae.
Mm-hmm.
Word.
Massive RuPaul
Turn
fan.
to the left. I'm just going to do the whole song.
Dude, can you imagine being on that plane and watching them like meet for the first time, right?
Dude.
What if Richard Pryor what if you were sitting across and then Eddie Murphy comes like and you see this conversation like happening? Imagine
these dudes flying fucking commercial. Like, what a wild, like, this is millionaires, right? And that's just what it was back then, though. But I mean, back then, when you used to fly, you knew you were in for a good time. A little bit of smoking, a little bit of drinking.
It was also, I think it's actually right after 48 Hours came out, Marlon Brando like put out word that he wanted to meet with Eddie. So like they had dinner together and
they had Mrs. Pell's fish sticks.
And
it's even better when you're dead.
Eddie says that Richard Pryor did to comedy what Brando did to acting.
Party All the Time drops. He collabed with Rick James, which I watched this documentary on Rick James. You know, talk about fucking crazy ass documentary. I think it's on Paramount. If you can watch that or find it. Rick James was so mad at a record label one time, he went in, jumped up on the record executive's desk and just pulled his dick out and started swinging it around. And this is from a witness that saw it happen.
How would you swing a dick?
Well, we can't, but he could. And like all kinds of shit all the fucking time, man. But anyway, I guess when he was a fucking musical genius, and so he had old Eddie in the studio. There's clips of that where it's him mixing Party All the Time and Eddie singing it. And like we said, man, it went to number 2. Again, dude throwing money, making money on fucking music, making money on stand-up, TV shows, movies.
At this point in time, you have to, as Eddie Murphy, like, how do you not have, like, the biggest ego on the planet? You can't fail.
I would never
right
talk
now.
to you guys again.
Ever. And we'd still be trying to, like, hit you up, dude.
Hey, man, can I get, you want tickets to the show? And I'm like, I don't even know these guys.
I was like, Chris, I've got reservations to the Sizzler.
Yeah.
My treat.
My treat. Shooter. But, yeah, man, so that hits. And I want Leaf to kind of dwell on this one because I don't know if I've ever seen The Golden Child, which came out in 1986.
Eddie Murphy is back. But this time, he's looking for a missing child.
Dude,
I'm not well versed in it. I've seen it once or twice. Don't really remember it. I remember the one scene where he's trying to not spill the fucking water.
There's the ground. There's the ground, Monty. There's no ground here.
Dude, I love The Golden Child. It is extremely campy. It's like it's got martial arts in it. It's got transforming demons. Like it's science fiction.
Walk us through a brief synopsis of it, man.
Does he do any martial arts in the movie?
Not really. He sort of just obviously it came out in 1996. It's a dark fantasy
86.
action comedy. Yeah, 1986. Directed by Michael Ritchie. Obviously the film stars Eddie Murphy, who is a Los Angeles social worker who is randomly informed one day that he is the chosen one. In classic Eddie Murphy fashion.
Back to our last Dragon episode, man. They fucking love martial arts.
Yeah, and he's destined to save this little Tibetan boy, this little child, right? Who is of course the Golden Child. It also stars Charlotte Lewis. And dude, it's just about that adventure he goes on. And of course, in typical Eddie Murphy fashion, he doesn't believe he's the chosen one.
Right.
Dude, it is hilarious, man. And this is one of my sister's favorites.
Okay, that makes sense then.
That's what it was, because she really, really liked this movie, and it was always on TV.
Yeah, I do remember it being on TV. And I mean, it looks like the budget was between 12 and 24 million, and it grossed 150 million. Like, he was just stick his name on a fucking poster and print money.
And people will go and watch it. And this was, this like I said, I said science fiction. I mean, it's like fantasy. And it's got really hilarious special effects. And, he just, the whole time, Eddie Murphy just refuses to believe that this mystical stuff is real, and he's making fun of all of the other.
Oh, nice!
Isn't he wearing one of those weird hats too?
In the end, he goes for closer to the end, he goes for training, and that's where you remember he has to do all these trials, man.
Yeah.
And at one point in time, he has to cross this bottomless pit.
Well, how many people have survived this test? None. I'm gonna break your ass when I get out of here.
He calls the guy that was training him, I think, is the Asian guy in Big Trouble in Little China. He has the lazy eye.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he's one of the monks that's there, and he calls him Monty or whatever.
Lazy eye or not, he's good with calculation.
You're breaking my heart, asswipe.
Dude, that guy was awesome. That guy is so awesome. So it has all kinds of Asian stars. Like I said, there's martial arts and fighting in it. It's really good, man. If y'all have never watched it, it's funny.
So Eddie says that his influences growing up were obviously Richard Pryor, Muhammad Ali, Elvis Presley, and Bruce Lee.
Okay. Wow.
Really? So he was interested in. I don't remember doing any martial arts in the film. You know, like I said, he's sort of this like disenfranchised.
Oh, I do have a correction from part one. When I said that guy from SNL introduced Eddie, or whoever it was introduced Eddie to Elvis, he introduced him to live Elvis, as in like the fashion part of it, like one of his live performances where he got the influence kind of for his leather suits.
What year was it? 76 Elvis died.
I can't remember because I wasn't born. But yeah, but anyway, like there's a small correction on that. But yeah, man, Leaf. This was one whenever we were going over it, and I was like, guys, I don't think I've seen The Golden Child, and you're like, oh, I got you.
I could quote this movie. Yeah.
Man,
I could quote it.
77.
Close enough.
Oh.
And picked up the telephone, and Bill got raw on me. I was like, hello, Mr. Cosby? And you hear, I would like to talk to you.
We're going to go to his second stand-up special, which I have some critiques of this one. And by critiques, I mean, fuck Hollywood, man. So, one, it was originally given an X rating when this came out, and they had to fight for an R rating.
X rating?
X rating. Yeah, MPAA. Sometimes they would just flex nuts on people. Like, they suck. Again, fuck Hollywood. And in this one, when
you gave an X rating for language?
I guess maybe talking about sex, which he was, but I don't know. Like they tried,
it's just the graphic nature by which,
and they actually
bang, bang, bang on the drum.
They ended up having to like apparently cut some scenes to get it down to R or some shit. But
really,
yeah, or at least that's what I read in my research. But so he, you could see like in Delirious how happy he was.
Yeah,
and when it got to Raw, he looked beaten down a little bit. Like there was an undertone of anger throughout this entire stand up of like kind of all the bullshittery, like him, you know, getting sued and all this stuff like that he kind of jokes about, but still it's like you could tell like that shit bothered him.
He also talks not in that special, but in some interviews he talked about during that time, you know, he was so famous and so popular. He was on talk shows all the time, but he noticed that they were asking him questions that they didn't ask like white people. Like,
oh, I'm sure.
Like, how are you spending your money?
Right. Well, I mean, and that's going to be like what's going to happen. And again, you're going to have other people from the other side in your ear to be like, what are you doing to give back to our culture? Or what are you know, where it's like all fun and games when you're making all this money, and then when you have it and you're successful, then the vultures start calling.
Yeah, he did say that there were black people that were resentful of him for his success. But to my knowledge, this was his last stand-up special.
Yeah,
I don't think he ever did anything.
Not in the 80s, no. Not in the 80s. Didn't he recently release one or something?
No, he was going to. He had it all worked out, and he had like spots set up, and then fucking COVID. Ugh. And so, like in 2020, he was ready to go, and he said that he, you know, that's how he started. He wanted to just kind of put a bookend on it and end big.
Yeah.
But the reason he had not done it for so long was he got so popular. When he would go places and try to work out material, as soon as he would walk on stage, people would just start laughing. Like,
right, so he couldn't actually hone and work on anything.
Well, he couldn't determine if the material was actually funny because people were just laughing because they were in the presence of Eddie Murphy.
Right, like it's just idol, this legend, you know.
He said he would walk out and he would just stand there and he'd like raise the microphone up and like maybe make a face or something, and people would laugh. He's like, I was standing there for 10 minutes. People were just laughing.
Well, I mean, can you imagine, like, we've seen all these stand-ups from the 80s. If you got a chance to go see Eddie Murphy live now, how fucking giddy you would be. Like, you know, like, it's just, like, you're ready to burst at the seams, you know? It's just like when I was 18 and I can't even get my pants off. If it makes contact with my underwear, I'm out.
Ball game.
Boom. Sorry. I swear to God, this happens all the time.
And then at 45.
Yeah, same, you know, same. You have an opening segment for this. So this had Robert Townsend and Keenan Ivory Wayans that helped with this one. And this opening sequence kind of cool. You get some Samuel L. Jackson a little callback, earlier on to actually call. I guess it was a call forward because we haven't even got to it yet, right? Right. So like Samuel L. Jackson is in this. Damon Wayans Jr. is the kid in this that's running in the house in the very first part of this, which is pretty wild. I look over here.
And isn't the chick from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Tatiana Ali is the little girl singing.
Why do fools fall in love?
Like from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
She played Ashley, right?
Yep. Played Ashley. Looks like James Brown III is in this, I assume. Yeah, I assume one of James Brown's kids. Again, like it's funny to go back and look. Kim Wayans is interviewed
48 hours has to be.
As a fan to start this. I don't know if you guys picked that up. Kim Wayans from obviously Keenan Ivory Wayans' sister, but she's in it was super big on In Living Color, hilarious comedian, but she's a fan they're interviewing. She's like, I can't wait to see Eddie Murphy. I'm such a big fan of him. And I'm like, liar, you're fucking Kim Wayans. You're backstage with him.
Do you know the skit we're talking about, Leaf?
Yeah, before the stand-up?
Yeah. So basically it's supposed to be like Eddie when he was like a little kid. So it's just like throwback into like the 60s. Black family that I guess maybe they got some family members over or some company, and
Eddie, get up and perform, Eddie.
It was his drunk stepdad when there.
He gets up there and he tells a little joke, and it's.
So the lion said, "Oh yeah, well I can make the stars come out," and then he kicked them in the ding ding.
It's very good. It's a good representation of a little kid telling a joke.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Samuel L. Jackson doesn't have the line. It's like,
I love that doo-doo line. That boy's got talent.
it's like, but then like then the actual like stand up starts after this. But I thought it was pretty fucking cool, like because I guess Robert Townsend, Keenan Ivory Wayans, and Eddie somehow linked up a long time ago, and so this is kind of him bringing people that he knows and trusts along with him to help write and do all this, which is pretty fucking cool. It'd be like Chadwick making it finally off his dashing good looks, the face of the business, and him being like, all right, Leaf, Chris, you can carry my bags.
I'm like, yes sir, Mr. McMahon.
Yes sir, Mr. Can I get you some more coffee, Mr. McMahon? But this one starts off again,
you guys,
he's still liberally using some slurs in this one.
He doesn't pull any punches in this one either, man.
He doesn't give a fuck. But I love the fucking gag, the Bill Cosby shit that's like really close to the very beginning of this. And and it's a true story, right? Like Bill really fucking called him and he does his like Bill. I mean, everybody's got a shitty Bill.
I would like to talk to you.
Yeah, you see, Theo. Like everybody's got the stupid fucking Bill Cosby.
About some of the things that you do in your show.
His Bill Cosby's
filth farming.
And I never said no filth, flying filth, and I don't know what you're talking about. I'm offended that you call. Fuck you.
But this really happened. So Bill Cosby called us and was like, hey, like you shouldn't be doing like all this filthy shit and blah blah blah. So he calls Richard Pryor.
Yep.
And Richard Pryor is just like basically like, hey, are you fucking making money? Like then
Are the people laughing? Yeah. Yeah.
And Richard said, the next time motherfucker call, tell him I said suck my dick. He said, do the people laugh when you say what you say? I said, yes. He said, do you get paid? I said, yes. He said, well, tell Bill I said have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up.
That was like a big fucking advertising thing that went on at this point with Bill Cosby.
You got to give it to Bill Cosby for having the balls to call Eddie Murphy and tell him to chill it out while he has some bitch passed out in the background.
Dude, he's like,
of the
you
phone
see,
call.
I'm the president of the black people. You see,
you put the pill into her drink, and then
you see
that story aged like fine wine because as he was telling it, I was like, bro, and little did you know. Like this moral grandstanding from a.
I would much rather Eddie Murphy say "fuck" than someone drug me.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Which one was the bigger? The bigger problem?
Which one went to prison for their
Of course, though, if you hear Dave Chappelle talk about it, there's a certain ratio of being to saving that you have to have. If you save more than you're but still.
But it's a superhero.
The point is this. But he saves. And he saves more than he but he probably does.
It's a superhero. That's what I'm talking about.
It's the only way you could do it.
This will be good Patreon content. YouTube's like, you said like before. You said it again.
Yeah, dude.
Is that a thing?
Did you guys see it was some kind of an award show, Mark Twain, whatever, maybe, where Eddie comes out, and it was after, like, Hannibal Buress is the one that kind of exposed all that shit about Cosby.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Eddie goes up there, I think he's actually like receiving an award.
Even though they call it a prize, it's an award, because usually when there's a prize, there's money involved.
And he does a Bill Cosby impression up there, and he goes,
And who is Hannibal Buress?
Dude, he goes through this. He has another bit on this one. And this is like, again, where like I think the anger is starting to come out a little bit. He talks about when he got sued for some melee at a club. And then he's talking about, Carson, his wife left him and she got half.
And overhead it said, Johnny's wife wants half Johnny's money. And I turned that shit back to Johnny.
He's worth $150 million. And like he goes through this whole this whole routine about, like, is it worth it? And, the prenup and how they act when you want to get a prenup and all that shit. But I just felt like with that combined with the club incident where he got sued or whatever, like he's fucking over it. Like it just seems like he's just like, God damn, fuck everybody.
I see a lot of you ladies sitting there going, get all the money you can. Shit, I'm glad she did get all that money. She earned it.
He had all the success. He worked really, really, really hard. And yeah, it's like he's trying to reap the benefits of it, and he's just surrounded by people trying to take a bite out of him.
Yeah.
And I think the agitation boils over, and you're absolutely right.
But then he goes back to like, it gets lighter after that. But I just noticed that in that part of the stand-up, I was like, ooh, like that's kind of real.
You say, Ma, I want to stop and get some McDonald's. She go, I got hamburger meat at home.
But he does this routine, and this is anybody that grew up in our generation, the hamburger routine where I want McDonald's, and she's his mom's like, I'm gonna make you McDonald's at home, and she goes home and fries up this hamburger and puts it on 2 pieces of Wonder Bread where it like soaks through. I've been there 100%. Like when he's describing this,
dude, we had white bread for buns the whole time I was growing up.
I know, same here, man. That one rung so true to me though.
You put a hot dog corner to corner.
Yeah, exactly. Just fold it over.
Yeah. Right,
dude.
You ever take a bite of a hamburger or sandwich and then just like a whole round of white bread just sticks to the roof of your mouth, dude? And you're trying to tongue the burger and
you end up having to get like your finger.
Yeah.
You look like a goddamn dog scratching your nose. Like when he tells this whole story about how it was she was gonna make a hamburger better than McDonald's and the patty's thick as fuck, like it's soaked with the grease from the burger, whatever. I was like, God, back to my childhood.
Man,
nice.
You know what we didn't touch on the Delirious was the ice cream bit.
The ice cream man is coming! The ice cream man is coming!
Oh yeah, that's one of the ones they fucking edited out online too.
Yeah. Really?
Mm-hmm.
That one, like, the whole premise is funny. Like, everything he's saying is funny, but you really have to watch that one because he's acting like a kid, and he does. There's this one part where he turns his back to the audience, right, and he's acting like he's screaming to his mom to throw down money, and he does this thing where like he turns around, his body's like away from the audience. He turns around and faces him, and he's got this. He really does look like a fucking 8-year-old kid.
Yeah,
it's like
the ice cream man is coming.
Dude, we remember that shit. We had snow cone men. We never had ice cream men, but we had the snow cone guy.
No, we had ice cream men.
Well, we're not rich like you. We
no, our lower class neighborhood.
Oh, you lived in Tennessee, didn't
we lived in Harrison.
Yeah.
I remember the snow cone guy had just these stains on his hands from all the snow cone syrup.
from all the buttholes.
And it would be like 20, or it'd be like 50 cents or some shit. Be like, how are you making money? And then I always felt really sleepy after I would drink it, and then I'd feel like the sun. When I woke up, it's dark outside.
Bill Cosby out there,
and he's like, "Oh, did you enjoy the great flavor of bazaar?"
I'm so tired.
Anyway,
try the creamsicle.
You see. Dude, the bit too about when he starts talking about Italian Americans, which
after they see Rocky, they come out the theater charged. They be like, "All right, Rocco! All right, Sly!"
But he talks about like the Italian people seeing Rocky and just having this like big fucking this chip on their shoulder and all this stuff. But that skit was pretty funny. But again, like that one had a little bit of fucking undertone of anger in it. It's just the other one I'd enjoy it so much more because I feel like he's still happy and he's enjoying like his career and his life and everything. And this one, it just feels like a lot of the bastards had started to grind him down, and he's like, man, fuck this. So we won't hit super hard on this one. We do have the drunken stepfather gag here. I do think this one was better when he starts doing the fucking Motown shit.
I got one of those fathers that gets drunk and sings old Motown songs to you in his argument.
Where the stepdad is like mispronouncing, like singing shit like a Motown when he's yelling at Eddie on the phone.
And fucks up all the lyrics and think he's saying it right. But going, I know you're gonna leave me, but I refuse to let you go, Lillian.
That part was funny as shit, but also too when he picked up the phone and he's like, my stepdad picked up. You can hear the audience like,
this is my house.
Start cheering because they know that bit's coming. Yeah. You know, Ezzy. But I guess at this point that dude wasn't drinking anymore. God damn.
Well,
embarrass that man to sober up.
Well, I think it was after both specials. But
take it from Beacon. Let's rewind. Fuck it.
Chuck it. Fuck it, dude.
Drink responsibly.
Yeah, we're in our houses. You know, this is a big thing. All right, man.
Also, it looks like
it's my motherfucking house.
It was confirmed that Richard Pryor and Marlon Brando were lovers.
No, it wasn't.
According to the internet, it has to be true.
It's on the fucking internet, man.
Dude, Richard Pryor's widow confirmed it.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, I saw that in a doc. But all right, man, let's move on from Raw because, like I said, I prefer Delirious much better.
Who was fucking who there?
When two gay men have sex, how do they know whose penis will open up to accept the other person's penis?
The White Schrute style?
Yeah.
All right. So next in 1987 as well is Beverly Hills Cop 2, which I'm sure this probably made. Leaf, I don't know if you can find us some numbers on this one. Whoops. But this one had to fucking crank out numbers again.
Axel Foley is back. Who is he?
I'd say he's a cop.
But I mean, look at this. Like, how many movies? Like, you got 48 Hours.
Bro, yeah.
You got Trading Places. You know, his stand-up, his Beverly Hills Cop. Golden Child. Raw, the other stand-up, which, again, these were released movies and made money. Beverly Hills Cop 2. I mean, like, god damn. All in a decade.
Beverly Hills Cop 2 was...
God damn.
Beverly Hills Cop 2 was filmed for $27 million and made $300 million.
God damn.
Like, bro,
like you said, like in episode 1, man, what was it, like 6-point-something billion he's grossed in fucking just off his movies, guys, right?
Yes.
So not to mention,
his films,
the stand-up,
not off his musical career.
Yeah. Shadwick, that's a good jam. Party all the time, party all the time. Because that's all he wanted to do.
Dude, it's
I'm not
like
saying
the girls
I'm not saying it's a bad song
for boys.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad song. I'm just saying I just think that people expected a funny song from him. When they got something like that, they're like, I don't know what to do with my hands.
It was just bubble gummy. Do you guys have any memories and stuff from Beverly Hills Cop 2? Because this would have been 87.
The only thing I remember, and I don't remember if it was the first one or the second one. I think it was the second one, where he goes to the Playboy Mansion, and like they're having a pool party, and he walks back there, and he like,
wake up! This is what we always talked about. So look alive. You may never see it again.
Dude.
Which Beverly Hills Cop was it where he pretends to have herpes simplex 10?
Tell him that Ramon went to the clinic today, and I found out that I have herpes simplex 10.
I think that was 1.
Yeah, was that number 1?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's
correct us in the comments. Herpes simplex 10, which I've heard.
He potentially get.
I've heard that shit. Like that shit was around. Like people saying that shit in high school and stuff. I remember. And I was like, oh, man, did you come up with that? No, they didn't.
It's not, Lois. It's not.
The good thing is Big Pharma has a pill for that. You must take it.
Yeah, you must take it. So let's if you guys don't have anything else for Beverly Hills Cop 2, let's go to 1988. And this is one, I know we've covered it, but I kind of want to hit on this again. Just Coming to America.
Aha! Aha!
You must be out of your goddamn mind.
This one is Eddie Murphying the fuck out of everything, which I believe is what Leaf said in the episode. And he just, again, like going back and looking at these characters, every character he plays, a lot of these voices and shit were from some SNL, like the Gumby voice, the Jewish the Jewish guy in the barbershop.
Yeah.
Like, but all these other characters that he's playing, him and Arsenio Hall, man, like they just kill it in this fucking movie.
Why did they not do more stuff together?
I mean, Arsenio had to have taken off in the late 80s, early 90s with his show. And when you've got a talk show like that, I imagine that is an assload of time that's going to take up.
Yeah.
And he was very successful with it. It was a very successul show. Fucking presidents and shit went on there, I use the sound effect all the time on here. So
we have an amazing Coming to America episode. If you guys haven't watched that, you should. But just to rehash it, that movie was filmed for $36 million and made $288 million.
So he's grossing over $1 billion in the 80s, like without inflation, like on these movies. Over $1 billion, I'm sure. Like if you add all these movies up, that's fucking insane.
Yeah, we're not even to some of the ones that he made later on. And so,
right, this is not the 90s. This is just 100% just his 80s run, man, which is wild that it went like this deep. But Coming to America, when we did that episode, I'd watched the movie, but like Chadwick's love for Eddie Murphy in this movie really made it infectious for me.
So Eddie actually only made $8 million for his role in Coming to America.
Really? Because Coming to America, if I'm not mistaken, is the same writers that he was working with at SNL, Blaustein and the other Sheffield, I believe they helped write this from Trading Places as well. So I think the same dudes.
Yeah, and they, I think it was 2020 or maybe 2021. A sequel to this finally came out.
They finally had it,
and he said that he had worked on that for like a decade, like trying.
Really?
Yeah, they couldn't get the script right. He had written parts for Tracy Morgan.
Someone about to get pregnant up in here.
It just, but he ended up.
I knew you couldn't resist.
I couldn't stop myself.
But if I think they brought, is it the original producer back maybe, and then the writer. I thought the writer was from Blackish.
Okay, I thought that they brought those dudes at least for producers. I know they brought somebody from the original, back for the new one, which I still haven't seen. Still haven't watched it. I need to watch it.
Same, I haven't seen it.
So we talked about kind of like what was your favorite character and stuff, like when we were talking about Coming to America. But now, like going back and watching it after, going back and digging into his SNL stuff, like it's just a comedy clinic is being put on in front of you with this essentially a two-man show. It's Arsenio and Eddie Murphy.
Pound for pound, Sugar Ray Robinson, the greatest fighter ever lived. Oh, come on, man. What about Joe Louis?
The Brown Bomber. Now that was a great boxer.
Just doing an hour and a half of fucking comedy gold on the screen for you. I can't recommend this one enough to go watch the movie and our episode.
Yes.
So you guys, watch the episode first.
Yeah.
Do you guys know which of the characters was Eddie's favorite?
No.
Mr. Randy Watson.
Dude.
We here for the Reverend. This man's been my Reverend since I was a little boy, and I love him dearly. You're a very special man. Reverend Brown.
That one.
He put some oomph into that one. Now that you say that, I can see it.
But again, the makeup, like, you don't know that's Eddie Murphy unless like you look. And it's the same thing with the Jewish dude in the barbershop. You know it's somebody playing like a Jewish dude in the barbershop, but it's like you have to kind of go back and be like, oh shit. So kudos to the makeup. But
the one I really didn't realize was Arsenio as the Reverend.
Yeah, me either. Mm-hmm. Yeah, same here. Like, I just...
Even with his gums, come on. Y'all had, like, he has capital gums and lowercase teeth.
All I know is Ringwald gums.
All I know is he helped Gilligan get off the island.
But it's not only the makeup; it's the mannerism change. It's the way they walk. It's the way they move. The facial features, like all that, has to change when you're playing a character for you not to be like, oh, that's just Shadwick in a wig.
If a man wants to be called Muhammad Ali, then
Muhammad Ali,
Muhammad, then goddamn it.
His mama named him Cassius. I'm gonna call him Cassius.
Mama call him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay.
Oh Jesus, yeah, man. Again, that's another one. So I wanted to kind of end on this movie. Which
damn boy, what you got in your hair?
I had not seen Harlem Nights, and like actually sat down and watched it until like 2 or 3 nights ago.
Dude, I ain't afraid of going up against Smalls or Calhoun. That's because you're young.
Come on.
And this movie was written and directed by Eddie Murphy, and he reached out because he wanted 3 generations of comedians in this movie. So he had Red Fox, he had Richard Pryor, and himself like in this movie. And it's not really a comedy. Like, I mean, it's got some funny parts here and there, I guess, but like, it's a good fucking movie. Like, it's a really good 20s gangster movie. Like,
so I've only seen it one time, and it was a long time ago.
Same.
I think we talked about it before. I tried to find it, but it wasn't free anywhere, and the G was very heavy. I mean, this time around.
Aha!
The only thing I remember is a guy, I guess maybe he's in bed with like a girlfriend or a prostitute or something, and he calls home, and he's like, his little son answers, I guess. He's like,
"Hey, darling, put mommy on the phone." "Yeah, Barbara, it's Richie. Yeah, look I ain't never coming home no more. Take it easy."
Like, because he's like in love with this prostitute. He's being set up in the movie. Yeah. But I mean, like, Charlie Murphy's in this. Red Fox is in there. He's blind as a bat, so that's kind of funny. They play off of that. Richard Pryor is his adopted dad in the movie.
Evidently, this is Red Fox's final appearance before he passed away.
He passed away like a year later, I think.
And Eddie said that Red Fox was genuinely like the funniest person he'd ever been around. Like, just in conversation, like, even when he was not trying to be funny.
Yeah.
He was, which is how I feel about Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, same here. Like, so I feel like I think that I was watching some doc that was on I think it was on Vice. It was on Eddie Murphy's 80s run, and they had like JB Smoove and some other people talking about him. But one of the ladies from this movie was on there, and she was just talking about how it was cool to see Eddie Murphy the director and Eddie Murphy the actor, because the dude's directing at the same time he's acting and shit too, right? And apparently also Red Fox had a nipple piercing that Elvis Presley gave him. That he was best friends with Elvis, apparently. Like, him and Elvis were really tight.
Why would you give him a nipple piercing?
I don't think he gave him a nipple piercing.
Are you about to tell me that Elvis and Red Fox were fucking each other?
No, they were not. They were just friends.
Because I'm still a little unsettled about the Marlon Brando.
Marlon Brando, yeah. No.
That's where I'm going, shit.
Not having it. He's not laughing at all. It makes it funnier.
I'll tell you though. But no, he had, I guess it was like the Lightning or some shit. Like, it was like a TCB, one of those things. But he was apparently telling stories about him and Elvis hanging out and shit, which I thought was pretty fucking cool. Like that. But apparently, I think he did it. I don't even know
if Red Fox is like, YOLO.
Yeah. Well, I wonder too if it was real, because they said he just kept showing people it. So I wonder if it was a gag he was doing to like fuck with people, like, you know. So they were like, no, it was real, but I don't know. But I thought that was, I never
did he actually die of a heart attack?
It's the worst one. This is a big one. I'm dying. You hear that, Elizabeth? I'm coming to join you, honey.
I mean, probably. I don't know. Like Elizabeth, he's finally the. Do you
Finally
think like
see
if that
Elizabeth.
happened, where
it's a big one.
people wouldn't believe him? They just thought he's doing a bit.
Yeah.
He's trying to be serious.
Evidently, he did die of a heart attack on a break from the rehearsals for the royal family, and on October the 11th, 1991.
Damn.
Well,
So he did.
Well, that's fitting.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but I mean,
It
that
was-
dude was an icon too, a comedian, you know, legend and a god. But I just never thought like Red Fox and Elvis Presley hanging out was like a thing. But apparently, dude, they were like,
Well, Elvis was big into like black music, right?
yeah, he was.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's I don't know, like Elvis was so long ago. It's hard for me to think like, because I mean, Red Fox was old. But like we see Red Fox when he's old on reruns that were filmed in like the 70s, and you know,
Right.
but in my brain, he
Lamont,
was-
you dummy.
yeah, in my brain it was 1990, and he's 70 years old, not 70 years old back in the 70s. You know, so
Yeah.
it's just
Right.
it's just weird to think those two come together. But I really thought that was like a nice little passion piece for Eddie to do, to be like, get this script, I wrote it, I'm gonna direct it again. So he is 28 years old doing this shit.
Still not 30.
So
yet.
he has another passion project that he wants to do, that he's been trying to get done for like 15 years, called Soul, and it's a mockumentary.
Okay.
About a black soul singer from like the 60s, 70s, I guess. There's a guy from like the New York Times that did an audio like interview with him. The guy's a fucking terrible interviewer. But Eddie, he plays the trailer that he made for this movie. That I guess he made a trailer to pitch it to studios or whatever. And like the guy is I can't remember what Murray is supposed to be the guy's name. It's like the same first name and last name,
right?
And but like he makes all these wild claims, like he had an album coming out called "I Have a Dream," and Martin Luther King
stole
it from him.
Oh, that's funny.
What's standing in the way of him making something like this?
Well, he's actually kind of lazy. Like he talks about.
I mean, I guess after doing everything before you hit 30, I guess he retired at 30.
This interview was in 2024, like just last year, and he's talking about like, man, it's just a lot of work, you know.
Well, I mean, now, because you're like, he busted so much ass in his 20s
and plus
and 30s,
and plus he wanted real like soul artists, and a lot of them have died out now, like the ones that he wanted.
Oh, okay.
So Harlem Nights had a budget of $30 million, and it only grossed $60 million. So this is when, probably because everybody talks about, I guess this is one of his quote unquote flops.
Yeah.
But it's like, can you call it a flop? I mean, it at least broke even after marketing, and you had $1 billion in the bank from everything else he did this year.
This is the one that David Spade made the joke about on SNL.
Look, children, it's a falling star. Make a wish.
Oh, that pissed him off?
Yeah.
Like
he says something like catch a falling star.
Yeah, that's yep. And that pissed Eddie off pretty bad.
Yeah.
But
and he didn't because like I don't know if he was mad. I guess he was mad at David Spade, but also like that joke had to like go through the producers.
Oh yeah, no,
everything
through everybody.
So he was like, fuck SNL for a while.
Well, I mean, and Lovitz did the same thing. They made fun of Lovitz a bunch, and Lovitz was pissed off at him. Like that happened a lot, where people would leave and then they would take these shots at him. And I mean, I'm torn because comedy's comedy, but also like maybe have your dudes' backs on certain stuff. But I don't know, man.
You gonna be the 9-toe having this limping this bitch in Harlem. You don't stop fucking with me. Now put the razor away.
again, after Harlem Nights, that basically is going to wrap up his massive run in the 80s, but he didn't stop there, man. He kept going. Leaf, I know, our voiceover expert over here, man. Eddie dabbled in there a little bit, and by dabbled, I mean fucking raked in more cash.
Just making more people like richer than God.
Money is mine.
Dude, he was the voice of in Mulan. He was the voice of the dragon.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
I forgot about that. I was thinking about Donkey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Before he became who most people know him from, as far as some of the younger generations that don't know who Eddie Murphy is, that didn't, unfortunately for them, live through a lot of the SNL, see some of his old movies. If you haven't, go back and watch that stuff.
Yep.
Eddie became a legend in the 80s, and just like we joked recently, like he had every right to retire before, but
100%.
didn't, kept doing that. Before he was he did some of the legendary. He had more movies.
It's
of course,
my house, Ezzy. I pay the mortgage.
That terrible guy from the New York Times was doing that interview. He said something about how Steve Martin said that he had done I don't know how many movies to try, and he's like, and I maybe made 5 good movies, and Eddie's like, he was that interviewer was like trying to compare Eddie to that, and he's like, what? I think I made a lot more than 5 good movies.
Yeah,
he's like, no, I know there were some that were kind of soft, but I wouldn't say they were flops. But then he says like Pluto Nash. He's like, he was ready to stop, and then he's like, well, I can't end with Pluto Nash. That was shit.
Yeah, yeah.
He said after like they completely finished that, his son I think was like 8 or something at the time, and he watched the screening with him, and when it starts to roll credits, his son goes, corny. and he's like, God damn it.
Yeah, they don't lie, man. Leaf, run it down, man. What else did he do? He had the Shrek, had Mulan.
Yeah, Shrek, Mulan.
Okay.
He's done
Nutty Professor.
Nutty Professor 1 and 2. Like he did. Dude, like obviously the Adventures of Pluto Nash. He did a little known comedy that we remember, Bowfingers.
Bowfinger. It's called Bowfinger, but for some reason we had a digital marquee, and so our manager fucked it up. Our manager fucked it up and called it Bowfingers. So like we just, anytime the manager was around, we'd all be like, "Oh, 2 more for Bowfingers," like really emphasizing the plural on it.
We were savages.
I never saw that movie.
I don't think I did either.
I don't think.
But Nutty Professor was fucking massive. Like, obviously Shrek was massive.
Wasn't there one where he was it called Showtime? Maybe where he was an actor that was like trying to shadow a cop or something like that.
I mean, you had him and Martin Lawrence too, right? Like,
I think so. Yeah.
What was that movie called?
Bad Boys.
No, God damn it.
What was that in that movie?
Life.
Yeah.
Life.
You gonna eat your cornbread?
Yeah, the cornbread line.
Dude,
yeah,
that one was at the movie theater. I remember that. So I mean, like that's what crazy is, because like we got to know Eddie Murphy probably during the 90s, but to go back and dig through all this stuff is like, it's crazy. Like, again, we keep hitting on it, but he's 19 when he got signed to SNL, and then he's doing all these movies in his 20s. And I mean, making $1 billion in that decade. In the 80s, adjusted to inflation, is probably like $3 or $4 billion or something fucking crazy. Just in that decade.
He made so many people very, very, very wealthy, and it was criminal what he got paid. Because Shelley mentioned, was it $8 million he got for like coming to America when it made like $300 million or whatever it was? So
crazy,
it was like,
man. But
yeah,
well, we'll go ahead and put a bow on this one, man. This is our 2-parter on Ezzy. So guys, remember to like, subscribe, again, hit us with the 5-star. Do you guys have any closing thoughts on Eddie? I think we all agree Eddie Murphy, all-timer as far as comedians, actors, everything, especially character actors, probably maybe the best of all time.
Yeah. I just wish he would do one more stand-up special, but from what I was listening to from that last interview from just last year. It doesn't sound like he's going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, hey, dude put in enough work. We're just selfish and want more. So
yeah, we're greedy for talent. I mean, I'm curious if anyone wants to, if we left something out or a specific really good Eddie Murphy performance, you can leave that in the comment section. Let us know, you know, what we
and
left
we're gonna
out,
go back and cover a lot of these movies too, like as they. Usually we try to hit them on the 25, 30, 45 year, all that shit. So
we got to do the Golden Child.
100%.
I can't. That's gonna be so funny.
The look on Chadwick's face is worth it.
It's just like
he's like, no.
I just don't remember it well enough.
Oh man, it's good.
All right, guys. Well, with that, we'll head it over to our Norm Macdonald clip of the week.
A new FBI study shows that for the first time, Americans are more likely to be killed by a stranger than a loved one or acquaintance. Their advice? Introduce yourself to as many people as possible.
Hear the best Eddie Murphy moments from previous podcasts available now in the archives.
Today we are covering Trading Places, the 1983 comedy.
Jacuzzi, sir.
You see, man, I knew y'all was f***ers, man. You ain't jacuzzi nobody.
I'm just going to read this. Nudity, blackface, substance abuse, alcohol use, smoking, foul language, sexual content, and blackface.
Twice? Is that a thing?
No, but I went back. That was my double take. I was like, wait,
you said it twice. Is that a thing?
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I haven't either. And I actually forgot about the scene in this that has that.
I did too.
Yeah, me too. Like, I think that's interesting because that's clearly been added since the movie was released. Because in the 80s, like that was like not a thing you really worried about. Like it just sort of you're pulled out of the moment by Eddie Murphy's character, Billy Ray Valentine.
Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas! Thank you very much. Vietnam did this to me, but I'm not bitter. Thank you.
Who is a streetwise hustler posing as a disabled Vietnam vet to scam for money. And let me just say, I'm not even going to try. Don't let any of your friends try to do this scene. You can't. I'm not going to repeat anything that he said.
100% you can't.
You have to watch it. It is one of the most fast-talking, insane scenes you've ever heard. And it's so funny.
Thanks a lot. How you like a stump up your ass?
Stay out of here.
You got a lot of soul. Appreciate it.
And it's on the fucking little things you use to change your oil, like the
the
I forgot what they're called.
It's a little dolly.
Yeah, like they're like little. Yeah, and
where
so
you
his
slide
legs
on your back underneath it, but he's just got his legs on it, so it looks like his legs are gone.
He's wearing like an old army jacket. He's got these big black sunglasses on because he's acting like he's blind. He's acting like he doesn't have any legs, and he's just like rolling himself, and he's asking people for money or whatever. But one of the funniest things is this girl walks by like in her like business attire, you know, her skirt or whatever, and he grabs her and
I know what you're thinking. You see Paul getting best? We can make it, baby. Me and you. You bitch.
So they decide they do want to make this bet. They decide, hey, we're gonna ruin our top executives' life because they can, and take this black street beggar up to the top level of everything. Give him everything to succeed that they think he needs. And
which is crazy that the owners of the U.S. government, I mean, Duke and Duke would do something like this.
Oh shit! Right. So, you know, one thing I noticed, the girl that Lewis is dating or engaged to, I guess, Penelope. The Dukes say that she is their grand niece. So I guess maybe they have another sibling.
I don't know, man. I think that
what is a grand niece?
I think that sometimes those family trees don't exactly like split off.
I think that I agree with Chris. I think that's another point where
it's Duke and Lannister.
yeah,
Sometimes it's pure blood, Shadwick. You know.
Yeah, and you get a lot of that with these two cheap old men. But so
a lot of webbed feet in that family.
Hell, swimmers though.
He's in prison. This is yet another scene. I know Shadwick's not going to let me skip over this, even though it is in the notes.
Yeah.
He's in prison, and he's just like Eddie Murphy is Eddie Murphying all over this scene. He's fast talking. Everything that comes out of his mouth is a lie. Not one single thing he says is true.
This was in
hold on. You think the quarter blood technique is a lie?
That's called the quarter blood technique. You do that, a quarter blood will drop out of a person's body.
Dude, this shit was in one of our early episodes, and I had to Google what Shadwick said because it's such a not obscure, but pretty obscure cut when he's like,
Karate man bruised on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses.
and Shadwick said it in an episode, and I was like, I know that's from a fucking movie, so I Googled it, was able to find the clip and put it in there, but I was like, God damn, what a deep cut. Like, Jesus.
That is
a 1983 comedy when he's in jail for 3 seconds. Like,
there's two big thugs that are there. One of them has a bunch of lines, and like the other one doesn't talk. But he says, one word.
Big Barry White looking motherfucker.
Yeah,
he comes like, and he does look Barry White.
So Eddie, he's sitting there and he's got like a guy on each side of him, and they're like hanging on every word that he's saying, talking about how.
Tell how you beat on the cop. Wasn't no cop, man. It was cops. Plural. 9, 10 cops. Beat the shit out of 10 cops and had to change my whole strategy around.
How bad he whipped their ass and everything, and then this guy, one of those big guys, like, hold on a second.
When they brought you in here and booked you, you was crying like a pussy.
and then the guy beside him just goes,
yeah.
It's a great heist, right? They're going to steal his information from his briefcase.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they do. But for some reason, each one of them dresses up as a different racial stereotype. As Chris mentioned, Jamie Lee Curtis is wearing lederhosen, but she's so stupid. She has a Swedish accent.
No, I am Inga from Sweden.
Sweden? But you're wearing lederhosen.
The butlers are drunken Irish priest.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy is like an African villager, and for some reason, I realize he's black. This still seems really racist when he starts singing. I'm not going to repeat it. Just put the clip in, dude.
Yeah.
It's so messed up, bro.
And this is where we got the trigger warning from the first of the movie.
We do.
Dan Aykroyd is
the coup de grace.
Yeah.
I certainly hope there's enough space on the train for me. Nenge Yomboko from Cameroon.
Anyway, we're doing Coming to America today.
Yes! Fuck you too!
I also don't really remember seeing this. Like, we were too young. There is nudity in it, which I just like. I thought I hadn't seen this movie in like a decade or more, but it turns out Rachel and I actually watched it together because she used to watch it as a kid. And I was like, "Oh, you mean on TV, right? Because that's where I used to see it all the time." And she was like, "No, my parents had the video." And I was like, "She comes from a really Christian conservative background." And like,
that's hilarious.
You guys watch this.
Was it like a cautionary tale for her? Like
some of the scenes were quite spicy.
Yeah.
And of course, this is Eddie Murphy in his prime. We're talking about Eddie Murphy stand-up raw, Eddie Murphy,
uncensored, unhinged, like
you ain't got no ice cream. You ain't got no ice cream.
Also have no ice cream. You didn't get none. You didn't get none.
So he's in this giant jacuzzi, and there's this topless woman next to him, like rubbing him, and then all of a sudden you see some bubbles, and this woman pops up, and the royal penis is cleaned.
And we have the money shot.
But so that's funny in itself. But then later he's complaining to his dad, the king, about how he doesn't get to do anything for himself, and he's going through that list, and he goes, bathing. Actually, I rather enjoy the bathing. But what's so funny to me is James Earl Jones, who plays his father. It's his like shit eating grin.
Yeah.
It's like he's like, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
He says you have. I know you have sex with your. Do you have sex with your bathers? Yeah. Because I know I do. Yeah. And he's just like they've decided they're going to look at a really shitty apartment because Akeem, of course, wants something different. He wants a challenge. He's the understory of this romantic comedy, right? Is Akeem's like kind of hero's journey. He's gone to the shitty place. He wants to experience real life, like not only real commoner life, but American commoner. So
and he wants a woman to love him for him and not because he's a prince.
Right, which is the main story. And so here they are in Queens in the shithole, and they want a really crappy apartment. And this guy's already the landlord just being a total dick, like yelling at him.
Of human beings.
Yeah, won't even let them in until they show them that they have money. Yep. And then right then, like the camera cuts.
Hey, Stu, your rent's due, motherfucker. And don't be pulling that falling down the stairs shit on me, you hear? Are you conscious?
And they're arguing about should he be called Muhammad Ali or Cassius Clay.
Cassius Clay.
His mama named him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay. Mm-hmm. That's right.
And I told Chris I'm going to design a T-shirt that says his mama named him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay.
Yeah. That's so fucking funny too, man. That whole scene too, especially if you have any fucking knowledge of boxing, like it's such a great, well-written scene, and
it's realistic.
And how old hats talked back then, man. Like that's
right.
How it was.
Did either of you catch that it's Cuba Gooding Jr. sitting in the barber chair?
I didn't until I read IMDb, and then I knew he looked familiar.
And that the barber, I think his name is Clarence. He's not even cutting his hair. He's got the scissors just like going around.
Yep. Or like even Hakeem when he's getting his haircut, his massive haircut. That is just like a little
his prince's mane.
Yeah.
His little knot. He asks me if that's some kind of weave.
Yeah.
I have used no chemicals, only juices and berries. Shit, they ain't nothing but ultra perm.
Yeah.
But it all unravels when
I saw it in your notes too. Okay, so this movie, amazing movie. We're gonna shit on it a little bit right here, only because the realism of when that character is so pure. When she finds out he's a prince, she's like, "Ugh, you lied to me," or like she's pissed off he's a prince. I was like, he's literally everything that you want. Probably the only thing keeping you from him was his like meager financial means, and now he's got more money than God, and you're like,
yes.
The boy has got his own money.
Yeah.
So he lied to you, right? Like that's a good point. Like Lisa is just too freaking pure, man.
Yeah.
And like so he lied to you about like what do most of us lie out? Chris and Shabak and I lie about going to the bar instead of like the strip club where we actually were, man.
Right.
This guy lied about being a billionaire.
That never happened.
Allegedly. Cut that.
And the two guys are from an older Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd film known as Trading Places, which is
from 1983.
Yep.
1983, right? So
5 years earlier.
Such an Easter egg, man.